First thing we're going to be talking about today, chat, is the Manchester mayoral race. This is the biggest segment. This is the biggest thing. This is the biggest bit of news politically that's going on at the moment in the UK that matters. And when I say the biggest news that matters politically, what I mean is that all the stuff about Andy Burnham, what he might do, what he says he's going to do, what is going to happen, all that stuff, it's all speculation. It's all ridiculous. This is stuff that could actually change things. This is stuff that could actually make a difference in the world. And I'm very excited to see what happens as a result of it. So I've got a bit of content for us to look at here. This is Geraldine Coggins, the Green Party mayoral candidate. She is a Green Party veteran, has been a councillor in Trafford City Council for, I don't know, 10 years, I think. She's been a member of the Green Party for 10 years anyway. But let's have a little look at what she's saying here in some of her election campaign material. You can see that they have gone with the classic Zach Polanski Green Party updated business when it comes to social media campaign style. And let's see if she can pull it off.
There's going to be an election here in Greater Manchester on the 30th of July. And it's a straight fight between Reform and me, Geraldine Coggins, your Green candidate. Our city region has changed a lot since I was first elected as a councillor here 8 years ago. People are feeling
10.
left behind. The sun is setting on two-party politics and the old establishment parties are fading away. Labour lost 40% of their voters at the May elections, dropping votes across all 10 boroughs. This has created a dangerous environment for those of us who reject the divisive, hateful politics of Reform. But there is hope. There is a way that we can stop them. Momentum is firmly with the Green Party. We have surged ahead in the polls, and we've shown in Gorton and Denton and across Greater Manchester. We are the ones who can stop Reform on the 30th of July. Vote Green. Let's stop Reform again.
Okay, I think this is fine. I think that she is pulling off the strat fairly well. What do I mean by the strat? Does she seem like a normal person? Yep. Does she seem like she is personable, nice, likable, not a career politician? Yep, absolutely. What we didn't really hear in that, which was a little bit frustrating, was any policy. What are the Greens going to do when they get into the position of Mayor of Greater Manchester? What is Geraldine going to do? What moves is she going to make? And is there going to be any kind of accountability for the social cleansing policies of Andy Burnham and the actions of Greater Manchester Combined Authority? I don't like that it was only talking about voting against Reform, not for something new and better. Yes, that is the issue with this. The best thing about Zohran's campaign is about how much he focused on specific actionable goals, which he then delivered on. That's what I'm trying to say. And, you know, this is just one aspect of her campaign material. It could improve. It could get better. So let's take a look at Reform's candidate. This is Reform UK's candidate, Sian Astley, and you might think I'm saying that in an odd way. I have been hearing, not told, but I've been hearing that that is how you pronounce her name. Not sure about the legitimacy of that, but let's have a little look at her campaign material.
I am not a wrecking ball. I'm a creator. You know, I'm a builder. I make things and I make things better, and that's what I've spent 30 years doing. I am Sian Astley and I am Reform's candidate for the Greater Manchester mayoral election. Labour have been in charge here for 50 years, and there are things under the carpet, there are things behind the curtain, all the analogies. And people say that there's a spotlight on Reform, and the way I feel is that we are the spotlight. Reform is the spotlight. We're here to shine the light, and sunlight is the best disinfection. Everybody says that. I was a Labour voter.
Bit of recuperation there. Sunlight is the best disinfectant. That's a left-wing talking point, isn't it? Yeah, also a couple of flood lines. Not great. Hello, Homer. How are you doing? Welcome in. Most authentic Manc accent ever. She sounds like if she is from Manchester, she's from Wilmslow. Yeah, do you want to do that again? You want to take that line again? No? Okay. Oh, okay, all right.
And the ice-like grip that Labour has had over Manchester has been evident for decades. What I started to see were things I didn't like a lack of transparency, a contempt for the voter. We have to make sure that those promises.
Oh my God, she's in Hume. Fuck off.
And
I know this, but right. So where this is a bridge over the main road coming into Manchester in Hume. And it is a deeply working class area. It links one estate to the universities on the other side of the road. And even surrounding the universities on the other side of the road, there's a bunch of working class estates, black area, a lot of migrant, settled migrants, people from migrant families and stuff living there. I know for a fact she doesn't knock around here, and she looks like she's terrified. She looks like she's fucking terrified. Look at her face. She's like, oh my God, this is a scary, spooky migrant area, and I don't like it. It's giving a weird vibe. It's sort of semi-produced. It also has an off-the-cuff feeling. Yeah. She's talking about things that are of a bit more substance to what Geraldine Coggins was saying. She is saying that there is a lack of transparency. She's saying that she was getting bad vibes and a disrespect for the voter and stuff like that. A Reform candidate can set foot on university grounds. You Brits are tolerant. I guarantee no one at the university knows who she is. I don't think anyone knew who she is. You can see that she's not got the Great Britain pin that she has on in other shots in this shot, which is also very funny. It's also indicative of how she feels about broadcasting that kind of a politics in that area. Round the corner from where this is, there is a radical black arts centre that is community owned by a bunch of people that I know, right? And there is a community garden centre that is owned by hippies and the children of anarchist activists from Hume from back in the day, squatters and all that kind of business. And it's very funny that she's gripping her handbag, not comfortable here. But anyway, let's continue and listen to what else she got to say.
Are stuck to and delivered. And the question, I think, for voters in this election is, do they trust Labour to deliver those promises when they've let us down so much in the past? I don't think so, which is why I'm standing. I propose opening up the files on the grooming gangs, on the GMCA
grooming gangs,
luxury apartment loans, on the US waste, on the alleged Aviva overspend, and on the social homes allocations and deals. I'm standing because Greater Manchester deserves better.
Okay, this is annoying and frustrating because these are all things that Geraldine Coggins could have said, obviously minus the grooming gang stuff. Now, you might be asking, what does she mean by Greater Manchester grooming gangs stuff? What does she mean by that? Well, she's talking about Rochdale. So the grooming gangs talking point originated in Rochdale and Oldham in Manchester, right? Now, it originated as a talking point because there was a bunch of inquiries into this stuff that has already happened. And Reform are kind of running on the idea that Andy Burnham has somehow covered some stuff up. This is nonsense. I have no time for Andy Burnham. I think he's a bastard. He's a neoliberal piece of shit who's socially cleansed this city of its working class and destroyed any opportunity of people buying a home in the city that they were born in. But he didn't cover up grooming gang stuff, right? He just didn't. It would be very surprising to me if he did. It's like when people tried to tie Starmer to Savile somehow. Yes, there are plenty of things that you could criticize any of these people for, but this is a desperate bit of nonsense racist rhetoric. If this lady gets elected to Greater Manchester Combined Authority Mayor, she will not do anything about grooming gangs because there won't be anything there. There just won't be anything there. There won't be anything there for her to uncover. Now, the frustrating part of this, as I said previously, is that she is in fact touching on some points that I would have preferred Geraldine Coggins to mention in her announcement video that we just previously watched. For example, the luxury apartment loans. We can't have Reform saying that shit. We can't have Reform saying that shit when their policy is to literally reverse the Renters' Rights Act. Yeah? And the Renters' Rights Act doesn't go far enough for renters. It got totally watered down in the legislation process, the legislative process in order to pass it as a law. And Reform want to repeal it. They want to roll it back. So she can't be out here essentially recuperating leftist language, anti-landlord language, anti-gentrification language when her party's policy is nothing to do with that. The Green Party's party policy on landlords is abolish landlords. So Geraldine Coggins needs to be saying, we are going to take these luxury developers, we're going to hold them to account, we're going to be putting a pause on gentrification in Manchester, we're going to do a rent freeze, all this kind of stuff. I don't know if that's something that she could do as Greater Manchester Mayor, but council housing could also be one. We're going to buy more properties, we're going to refurb them, we're going to make them, we're going to make them green, we're going to provide them as council housing and stuff like that, right? So that's the thing. Grooming gangs like the royal family, right? Well, if only we could have an investigation into that. What's the music? AI uplifting mix 7, yeah. Hey Andy, how you doing? Welcome in.
It's broken and Britain needs reform.
All right, it's broken and Britain needs reform. Let's have a look at some other stuff. So, who is Sian Astley? Is she related to Rick? Probably not. Lol, Lamau, funny stuff. This is what you pay for. Very much. Genuine question. What the fuck is a grooming gang or rape gang? A gang of people whose sole purpose is to do those two things. I'm sure awful people exist who do that, but gangs don't exist to do that. It seems the gang is just another term for whatever group is on the chopping block. Well, what I would say is that there are grooming gangs. If we are talking about a gang that explicitly exists in order to abuse children, they do exist. And yes, you're right. They are overwhelmingly targeted. That phrase is overwhelmingly targeted to the out group, to migrants, to Muslims all the time. But overwhelmingly, grooming gangs are made up of white men. Yeah. So grooming gangs are a thing. There are like pedophile rings that exist literally to groom kids and make child abuse material, child sex abuse material, and distribute it and stuff, right? Yeah, there absolutely are grooming gangs. They are almost all connected to the alt-right. Correct. Yes, they are almost all of them racist themselves and probably go to some of these protests where they're like, yeah, grooming gangs, get rid of them. Also, one of the biggest grooming gangs of all time, led by Jeffrey Epstein. Correct. Yes. So, that's that. I do appreciate the opportunity to clarify that for you, Slick Stick Stuck, because it is, in fact, very important that we are armed and equipped with the actual knowledge of this stuff. It's like, if someone comes up to you and says, we got to deal with these grooming gangs, it's like, yeah, but we have to remember that it's not just brown people that are doing grooming. That's the response. Yeah, we've got to deal with grooming gangs. Absolutely. But the white ones as well. And just see how people respond to that. If they turn around and go, they're not white. Turn around and go, wait, what do you mean? There's loads of grooming gangs who are white. What are you talking about? Jeffrey Epstein. Use that example. Jeffrey Epstein. Jimmy Savile. When Reform say grooming gangs, they want you to think Muslims. It is entirely a dog whistle. At this point, it's a dog foghorn. Correct. A dog horn, if you will. So, let's have a look at a bit more information. This is Reform Party UK Exposed. I would recommend following these on Twitter if you're still on the Hell site. Manchester Reform UK's HMOs. What's this? Reform UK mayoral candidate Sian Astley. That's her name. Her Twitter on... She's got Twitter there. IRL and TV lady builder, interior designer, and project manager, supper clubs, landlord. Well... Airbnb superhosts. Well, very interesting. Very interesting. What do you call it? revelations that we're having here. Heavily opposes the conversion of houses into HMOs, but her fellow Reform UK councillors on Wigan Council seem to love them. It puts her as a mayoral candidate in direct conflict with her own team. And we're not just talking about HMOs with migrants in them, she opposes all. So let's take a look at this. Make it more just. Oh, that's terrible. I'm a Slimby landlord. What does that mean? Slightly in my backyard? What does that mean? HMOs are a blight on neighborhoods. As a member of the National Landlords Association, I get regular emails from them, and I do support most things they say, but I'm completely anti this fight they have taken on. HMOs are houses of multiple occupation. In recent years, there has been a huge increase in legislation, quite haphazardly implemented by councils across the UK. Without going into tons of details, which is HMO legislation, it's all about cramming as many people physically possible into the smallest space possible to ensure the best possible return for the property. If a landlord has 4 people in a house, all paying weekly rent, and with some jiggery pokery and renovation works, he or she can now get 6 in, with the increased rent and the landlord's quids in. I know times are tough, and I know it can be hard to make deals stack up with the present climate, but it's a fact that... Sorry, I know times are tough. For landlords, get out of town. Get the fuck out of town. Absurd stuff. Completely absurd stuff. It's a fact that no matter how many landlords play the spin and say they are improving the property and how much the NLA bangs on it about affordable housing, the bottom line is it's only about increasing the profitability of the house in question. This is what the email said. NLA anger at government proposals. As part of our continued campaign for fairer rights for landlords, the NLA has joined forces with National Property Lobby. National property groups to express their anger at the latest government proposals, which would allow lobby groups to pressure councils to prevent people living in affordable shared housing. Ministers want to clamp down on houses in multiple occupation in their quest to stop studentification in residential areas. However, the NLA and other property groups believe that laws to restrict HMOs will reduce choice and raise rents. No, that's you that will do that. That's you that will do that. As landlords, collectively, you will all decide to do that. That's what that means. You know, having these laws is not gonna, even if the laws weren't implemented, the rent would still increase. Drive out students, young professionals, and immigrants, affect local businesses who rely on their custom. The property groups describe the plans as a NIMBY's charter and instead want to see local management, which would allow communities to tackle problems while avoiding more legislation. Mad stuff. Absolutely mad stuff. Is this what far-right electoralism looks like? Yeah, it's just not knowing what your party actually stands for. Or just lying. I don't know. Or just lying. I see why I'm misunderstood. When I hear gang, I think of a street gang rather than a group of any kind. I hate internalized racism. I mean, look, at the end of the day, they want you to think of grooming gangs as non-white anyway. You know, they do want to think about that. But you were right to point out the grooming gang stuff is all about that. They are wanting to target an out group. They are wanting to target migrants and racialized people. So yeah, I wouldn't worry too much about that. I know, yeah, like, you know, they're trying to get to everybody in it, you know? These people genuinely don't conceptualize themselves, right? They basically farm people's lives and act like that's work. Yes, they do. I've been couch surfing for nearly 4 years because I can't get an affordable flat. Any that I can afford go in a week, and the council list is wild. 1,000% fuck landlords. Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that, Mushy. It's fucking terrible. 5% of this country, 5% of people in this country are landlords. Yes, absolutely. So, what a load of bollocks. I am a landlord. That's my living. That's my pension. That's my life. I've renovated flats to turn them from studios to 1-beds and 1-beds into 2-beds where the space allowed. I'm not anti-commercial decisions, but there are landlords everywhere taking the mickey. And because they don't think they're making a big enough profit from the houses they already have or have just bought, they're cramming, jamming, and slamming a stupid amount of bodies into houses entirely unsuitable for that amount of people. It's a standing joke in South Manchester. Fallowfield and Withington areas have all had the most beautiful family homes turned into flats. And now even the smallest 3-bed semis are having ridiculous extension applications to turn them into HMOs. Long-suffering residents feel the barrage of debris, abuse, noise, loutish behavior, which is worsened year on year. This is broadly true, but I think it's so rich that she's talking about, I've turned studios into 1-beds and I've turned 1-beds into 2-beds. Yeah, so you only like suck the blood of a couple of people. You don't suck the blood of more people, and you're annoyed that the other vampires are making more blood. They got more blood in the bank than you. Yeah? Just rich. Completely rich. The long-suffering residents, yeah. An imbalance of long-term owner-occupiers versus short-term letters, student, immigrants, transient residents means a worsening of the area. Any fool can see that. Crime levels increase. There is less care in the area. No children, no older residents, just ghettoization. Is that a word? It should be. Is she kind of woke? Chat, she's saying kind of woke stuff. Owners and resultantly people with a vested interest in caring for the area, not just making a profit from it, move out there as there is absolutely zero neighborhood feel or sense of community. Why do I feel so passionate about this? I live in a house which I used to rent out to young professionals. They moved on, telling me there were too many students and the neighborhood had degenerated. We moved in and loved the house, but boy, has the area changed in the last 3 years, all because of bad planning decisions, too many HMOs and greedy landlords. I think that this is something that she is not going to be making the connection with in terms of private education. If she doesn't like the facts, or if neighbors or young professionals that are her tenants have moved on because there are too many students in the area, the reason for so many students moving to Manchester is because of private education and universities wanting to increase their applications so that they could get subscriptions and therefore make more money from student finance. And it's a totally profit-based education system which is attracting more and more students, and therefore more and more private developers building luxury student accommodation, and in some cases purpose-built student accommodation that isn't luxury but it is marketed as better than the rest, and obviously it's unaffordable for most people, right? So it's an insane, bizarre profit circle where all these different profit-based companies and privatized institutions are making a lot of money based on everybody's shit life as a renter, right? But she's not going to make that connection. So she's going to talk about it now, so I don't know. Maybe she will. I will be surprised if she gets super woke with this, but if she's getting super woke with it, she isn't a candidate for reform. Like, that's not the party for her. She should be in the Green Party. I don't know what's going on. So, all because of bad planning decisions, too many HMOs, greedy landlords, residential areas are being studentified, and living in that type of environment does nothing to help students integrate into wider society. Residential areas loved by those who have lived there for years are not campuses, yet they are being turned into them. Student areas are spreading more and more and not being controlled in any way. It's not doing our neighborhoods any good. Yeah, she is not making the connection there as to why this is happening. Affect local business, don't be ridiculous. NLA, takeaways, and fast food outlets are the only shops frequented by students. They all shop in Sainsbury's these days. I don't think that's true. Of course, the property groups say those in opposition are NIMBYs. I don't know any landlord who lives in the areas they rent HMOs in. They all bloody go to them in their 4x4s and then leave again. If they were made to live in the areas being ghettoized, they would soon realize the effect their decision on numbers have on the neighborhood. My blood boiled when I read this load of crap. Get out of your ivory tower and get into the areas. Talk to long-term residents, NLA. Maybe you will see they shouldn't be insulted with the term NIMBY and that they actually have a point. We are Slimbies. Shed loads in my backyard and no more thanks. Chat, she's woke. What do you mean? What's happening? She's incredibly woke. For a landlord. I don't think she knows what party she's running for. Do you remember when I said to you? I was having that conversation with that guy outside my place this weekend, and I told him about this fucking reform policy of privatizing the NHS, and his face dropped. This is just like another example of that. She doesn't know what reform's policies are other than get rid of immigrants. Do you think she's honest? I don't know. It's hard to know. That's her blog. That's a blog post from like 2009? Is that when it's from? 2009? It doesn't have like a date on it. Oh yeah. It's from fucking 2009. Could have changed 20 years later. I don't know. Could have changed 20 years later. Maybe she was like 40 at this point. She's gotten more and more brain rotted. I don't know. Okay, I'm now realizing that this was fucking 20 years ago. So let's just scratch all that. I imagine she's not woke. She used to be woke. She could have changed her entire opinion on this, but let's have a look. Wigan councillor and branch chair Lee Moffat runs a letting agency, LV Property, formerly Lobster Lettings, that markets HMOs. However, he's updated his register of interest and appears he also owns some. Hang on a minute. Formerly Lobster Lettings. Don't we know them from Landlord Brainrot? "17 years is an extremely long time ago in terms of your beliefs." It is. We do. It's Lobster Lettings from Landlord Brainrot. It literally is. Is it Gemma and What's-Her-Face? It's the two girls. It's the two girls, Gemma and Thingy. The horrible fucking piece of shits who go around and they're like, "Oh, I can't believe it. There's a dog. Oh my God, a scary dog." And it's literally not a scary dog. That's so crazy. We're in the Muel cinematic universe, chat. It's happening. It's so fucked. Hey, Vordrella. Hey, Ashlols, by the way. Welcome in. Friend of the stream, Lobster Lettings. Markets HMOs, however, he's updated his register of interest. Appears he also owns some. All whilst campaigning against HMOs. Wigan councillor Gemma Painter. No! The Vote Jimmy Savile sign councillor works for Moffat at LV Lettings. Hang on a minute. Hang on a minute. Is that her who had the Jimmy Savile sign? Oh my God. In the recent campaign in Makerfield. Run the search. Run the search. Reform sign Jimmy Savile. Oh my God, it's her. Oh my God, it is her. I can't believe that we didn't spot it. Oh my God, chat. Oh my God, it's the Mule Cinematic Universe. That's her. That's her. That's her from Landlord Brainrot. I can't believe it. That's so crazy. Look at that turkey teeth, man. He looks like he's got a fucking piece of A4 paper in his gob. No, this isn't the horse therapy creep. This lady here, we've seen her on Nightmare Tenants, Rogue Landlords. That show that we used to react to, but I can't really make that much content out of it because it gets the YouTube VOD clapped. And she is on that show. It's all connected. It's all connected. Oh my God. So there you go. That's that. Fuck me, dude. Absolutely rotted. Absolutely fucking rotted. Wigan councillor Sam Ashton runs digital marketing for LV Lettings. Wigan councillor Paul Bannister has 3 rental properties. How many are HMOs? It's time to make your policies on HMOs clear, Sian. Yes, absolutely. And it appears that Wigan Council, the reform councillors in Wigan, are in fact all just landlord profiteer bastards. Every single one of them. The Goose Off Rugrats is a reform supporter. Confirmed. The Goose Off Rugrats? I don't know what you mean. It's the female British Hutch. I'd vote for Epstein if he was a Dem. Yes, correct. Hello, Detaway. Okay, so let's have a look at this. This is Geraldine Coggins on ITV last week. Let's see what she's saying. Let's see if there's any better messaging coming out of this.
Going to be an election between the Green Party and Reform, and I am standing to make sure that at the end of July, we are looking at our first ever Green Party mayor in Greater Manchester. I know the issues that matter to people. I knock on a lot of doors. I know that people are really struggling with the cost of living, that a lot of our communities are feeling left out, unheard, unsupported. And it'll be my job as the Mayor of Greater Manchester to make sure that we're really celebrating our diversity, to make sure that we are tackling the massive inequality in our cities,
Okay.
standing up for all the different communities, for the people in the centre, for the people at the edges, and for all the different people here.
Yeah, but how are you going to do that? We need to hear how you're going to do that, and those people need to hear how you're going to do that.
And crucially, as the first Green Mayor of Greater Manchester, I will be putting the climate and nature emergencies at the heart of everything we do.
Okay, but how? This is not a good campaign so far. Yeah, too vague. Not good. Let's have a look at this. This came up when I was looking for more information about Sian Astley, this AI-looking man. He has a little short here that may not be a short. It may be longer than a short. It's about 3 minutes or whatever. And he's saying here, Reform's Manchester candidate is not another Westminster clone. Let's hear what he's got to say about her.
Reform UK have now announced Sian Astley, and before anyone goes and corrects me that it's Sian, no, it's not, because...
What is going on with his face? What is going on with the camera or whatever? Why does he look like that? Has he got like extra sharpening? I think he's got sharpening turned all the way up in the edit. It does look like he's put like an AI filter on it. AI skin. Offensive accent. Yeah. What's going on?
This is how she pronounces her name.
I'm a creator, you know, I'm a builder. I make things and I make things better, and that's what I've spent 30 years doing. I am Sian Astley and I am Reform's candidate for the Greater Manchester mayoral election.
You see, Greater Manchester is not a small political sideshow. This is a massive mayoralty covering millions of people with real influence over transport, policing, housing, regeneration, skills, and how local areas are actually run. So who gets...
Yeah, so Reform is going to be insanely terrible for all of those things.
That job does matter. And what stands out straight away about Sian is this. She does not look like another machine politician being pushed through the system because they've served their time inside the party structure. She's already elected. She won. Now, this is where I probably...
This guy gets sunburn as a full-time job, yeah.
Don't get it wrong. Bagley in Wythenshawe for Reform UK, taking 1,329 votes.
Bagley? It's fucking Bagley, you southern shite. Fucking, my man just said Bagley. Fucking Bagley.
Beating the Labour candidate, who finished on 906, and it matters because that's Labour territory. It's the kind of area Labour used to assume it owned politically.
Yeah, you would think that it would be pronounced Bagley if you just saw it written, but it's not. I fucking hate all these southern twats talking about fucking Manchester.
A safe seat, let's say. And she has already shown that voters there are willing to break from the old pattern. She's also now the leader of the Reform UK group on Manchester City Council. So they did not just...
He is fucking so orange. You can see his actual colour of his skin here, where his hair starts, because he's not wanting to get his fake tan on his head. So you could just see the gammon just like poking through there.
Slogan. Her background is...
Also, you can see a little bit just around the edges of his shirt. He's not quite got it all down there. The skin under his hair is burnt as well. Yeah, he looks like he's crisping up.
Property, renovation, design, and project management.
Do you reckon he lives in Spain, this guy? You think his skin is actually fried? No, because it looks too good. It's too much of a good tan. Unless he's done color correction in post. I don't know. It doesn't look good. Okay, let me rephrase. It doesn't look bad. He looks like he's made of leather. Yeah, but not as bad as it could be. Hello, HBB. How you doing? Bathed in the official Trump spray tan sauce. Yeah. Second home on the Costa del Crime, maybe. Yeah, maybe. Benidorm expat. Yeah.
Now, I know some people will try to attack that. They will say landlord, property person, businesswoman, as if understanding housing, buildings, high streets, planning, decay, renovation, and getting things done is somehow a negative. I would argue the complete opposite. Greater Manchester does not need another politician who can talk for 20 minutes about strategy while the local high street collapses behind them. It needs people who understand what neglect looks like in the real world, empty shops, broken roads, housing pressures, areas left behind.
What's really funny about this is that this guy is clearly not someone who goes to Manchester regularly, and he doesn't know anything about Manchester. He's basing this stuff off Makerfield, right? You can't really say broadly about Manchester that Andy Burnham has fucked up the high street, because actually Andy Burnham's policies have meant that the high street has actually, for what it's worth, remained somewhat intact in Manchester, particularly in the city centre, but that's because that's where all the money goes for the regeneration, you know, gentrification disguised as regeneration. And even in the outer areas, like if we're talking about Moston, it's a little bit different because that's North Manchester and Arparay, places like that. Cheetham Hill Road, those kinds of places, you are going to see a little bit of degradation on the high street, but other places, South Manchester, even places like Openshaw, right, which some people would say that's kind of North Manchester, East Manchester, it's, you know, it's a deprived area and stuff. Even in some places like that, you've still got a decent amount of shops, a decent amount of like infrastructure maintenance and stuff like that. So it's a bit like you can't really just be saying the high street. It's just another reform talking point where they're just like vape shops, Turkish barbers, vape shops, and it's like, get a fucking life, dude.
And communities told to be patient while the same political class keeps control. And her opening pitch is a strong one. Transparency. She has said that one of her first acts as mayor would be to open up the books on contracts awarded during Andy Burnham's time as Labour mayor. That's exactly the right place to start.
I mean, he's right. I can't really argue with him here.
Not wild allegations, not shouting into the sky. Just open the books, let people see where the money went, who got the contracts, what value was delivered, and whether Greater Manchester got the service it was actually promised. That should not be controversial. If public money is clean, open the records. If decisions were sound, then show the people. If everything was done properly, there should be nothing.
He's got like Russell Brand accent, hasn't he? Proper offensive. Whoever was saying earlier, just offensive accent. Yes. Extremely offensive. He sounds like every Brit bonger on Rumble kind of sort of a American Cockney, I want to call it. This is the level of populism Coggins needs to be doing alongside better policy conveyance. Yeah, exactly. It's not good. I just don't like him. That's fair enough. Imagine if his first scandal was dirty money in mayoral duties. What, you mean Cyan Astley, her first scandal? Yeah. Possibly. It's likely, right? The Greens could have had, we will open the books publicly from the start. Yeah, it's not good. Dick Van Dyke in Mary Poppins accent. Yeah.
To fear. And this election is going to be framed by Labour as continuity. More of the same, keep the machine running, don't ask too many questions. But for a lot of people, more of the same is exactly the problem. So
yeah, Bev Craig is also a terrible candidate. And Bev Craig has been going on with herself with her campaign as well. And we're going to take a little look at that in a minute or two.
For the people in Greater Manchester, Cyan Astley looks like a serious reform candidate with local electoral proof, real-world business experience, and a clear opening message. Put ordinary communities first, stop ignoring the towns and high streets, and bring proper scrutiny to the people who have been running the place for years. That is a pretty positive start if you're...
Yeah, unfortunately, this guy is right. It is a pretty solid start. We're going to take a quick look at Bev Craig. Let's have a look at what Labour Right Watch have got to say. Labour candidate for Manchester Mayor Bev Craig. Her involvement with the Future Governance Forum doesn't exactly bode well for those hoping Labour will break free from the lobbyists, the privateers, and the Morgan McSweeney tendency. Now, you'll remember, chat, when I heard that Bev Craig was running for mayor, my first reaction was, that's a terrible candidate. Because anybody who has had dealings with the council and knows Bev's name as someone being leader of the council, they will tell you she is a fucking two-faced piece of shit. Out of one side of her mouth, she'll be very, very left-wing sounding, very much like, oh, we want to support communities, we want to support all these radical organizations and stuff like that. But then out the other side of her mouth, she is, you know, encouraging the planning committee to approve loads of regeneration, which is gentrification disguised as regeneration, and of course just managing the council absolutely terribly in a very like neoliberal fashion. Let's take a look at what Labour Right Watch is talking about here. We've got a bit of a mood board here. I don't know how you would describe it, spider diagram kind of thing. So what we got here? Bev Craig, Labour candidate for Manchester Mayor. She's connected to Future Government Forum's Future Governance Forum's policy advisors, Polly McKenzie, Georgia Gold, and Sam Friedman. And apparently, Bev Craig is also a policy advisor for Future Governance Forum. These are connected to Labour Together. Links with Labour Together are William and Fran Perrin, Josh Simons, Will Somerville, and Sarah Mully. So it kind of stinks of the Labour Together stitch-up that we were talking about towards the Makerfield by-election, where we were thinking, oh, okay, so Josh Simons has stood down to say we got to get rid of Starmer. Burnham's going to be dead good. He's going to change loads of stuff. And actually, it's not that at all, right? It's just not that at all. Apparently, the founder and executive director of Future Governance Forum is Nathan Muel. He was a Labour councillor, suggested that food bank users do not need them and are taking the piss, and action should be taken to embarrass them. That sounds good, doesn't it? They sound like the good party that they've turned out to be in the last 10 years. Well, I should say in the last 4 years, 5 years, really, because they were much better than that. He is an ally of Morgan McSweeney, director of Blairite think tank Progress. It's good, isn't it? Founded Labour to Win, and Labour to Win are funded by lobby firm PLMR and Gary Lubner. Luke Akehurst is a director and was created to drive the left out of Labour. Again, Labour to Win, making Labour electable. Electable being the buzzword that was used to discredit Jeremy Corbyn. Public-private partnership funding for NHS neighbourhood health centres. Now, this is one of the most egregious things that anyone should be using against Bev Craig. So my GPs are like an example of this. They are basically private GPs that work under the NHS, and I cannot believe that there hasn't been more of an uproar about this. It's completely insane. This was a key ask from Future Governance Forum to the Labour government. They pushed for it for a year, and it became government policy in 2026. Public-private partnerships is private funding for public services, essentially PFI contracts. FGF believe that PPP should not have been dropped in 2018 and intend to drive adoption of public-private partnerships across other public services. So, again, it's more horrific. Yes, we definitely are in control of the NHS, but it's a private company and they are, just making profit off the NHS. Insane stuff. Both of them look like they took a shovel to the head, but from different angles. Yes, they do. Speakers at FGF events. Praggle, Nargun, Ben Summers, Vanguard, Paul Mason. That's a red flag. MPs Alison McGovern, Liz Kendall, Hilary Benn. That's a red flag. James Murray, Kevin Bonever, Lucy Rigby. Sponsors Miti, which is, who is that? Is like a facility management company, leading facilities management and professional services. So yeah, these guys are, move beyond the day-to-day facilities management to create high-performing places supported by data insight, digital innovation, and all the benefits of self-delivery. How agentic AI and robotics will transform facility management. So yeah, this will be like a private, they're a shit employer, so fucking shit. They'll be like a private company that exists to employ people to manage power plants, infrastructure, stuff like that. Maybe like breweries, maybe factories and stuff. So I imagine it will be all to do with that. Edelman, I don't know who that is. Newton, TikTok. So, not great. Not good sponsors for a think tank as it goes. They run the Janitor Panopticon. Yeah, that's right. Hey, Mia, welcome in. So, there you go. There is Bev Craig. Let's have a quick look and see if Bev Craig has got any campaign material. Let's see what she's saying.
So I turned up in Manchester at 18. I'd come from a semi-rural council estate, the first in my family to do GCSEs, never mind go to university. I arrived in Manchester, unconfident, with no money, no friends and no connections. And this place, helped me thrive, it helped me grow. And
okay, this is disgusting. Do you know what this is? Straight away? This is Bev Craig trying to appeal to the gentrifiers who have moved to Manchester because they can't afford to live in London. She is trying to appeal to the voters that Andy Burnham has brought in through his social cleansing campaign of gentrification in Manchester. Now, the problem is that this isn't going to work for the Greater Manchester Combined Authority election because she needs to appeal to people in the broader Combined Authority, which is 11 boroughs, right? She has to appeal to people in Oldham. She has to appeal to people in Wigan. She has to appeal to people in Lee. She has to appeal to people in Old Trafford, Hume, everywhere. You can't just be sat there going, oh, it was dead mint when I moved to Manchester and I now live in one of these cool towers that the GMCA gave millions of pounds to. And you should thank Labour for doing that. They made this city what it is today, and that's why you like it so much. Not because it's way cheaper than London, even though that won't last long.
Never imagined when I first came to Manchester that over 20 years later, not only would I still be here, but I'd be running the city and standing for Greater Manchester Mayor. And I think there's something special about this place. It's home. It's a place that I love and somewhere I really care about.
No, you don't. You don't give a shit about Manchester, you fucking lying scumbag twat. So there you go. There's a bit of Bev Craig. I'm struggling to place that accent. Yeah, would you call it generic northern? Generic northern, maybe? Gentrified accent. I don't know. I just came across this earlier. I think that this is a bit of rot regarding Manchester mayor polling. I don't know what this channel is. It's this guy. I'm sure he's gonna have some really good insights into politics and the Greater Manchester mayoral race polling. That is a crazy... I just want to start off by saying that is a crazy shirt. Absolutely crazy shirt. Completely cursed. Fucking flags in his room. Awful stuff. Awful stuff.
Manchester mayor polling.
Great intro. Preston journalist. Fighting the good fight.
There are two sets of polling come out. It looks like we're seeing exactly the same thing as what we saw in Makerfield. The polls don't really know what is happening at the moment, and it's going to be a very short campaign, by the way, about 5 weeks. Every day from now on is absolutely crucial. We know that the quite unpopular Bev Craig is Labour's candidate. Now, one poll I've seen, but
he's right about that.
5th of June, this polling, the first lot, and it has her on 33% with Reform on 30. The third place was the Greens on just 12%. And for anyone wishing to slag me off for not mentioning Restore...
Wait, hang on. They think these polls think that Bev Craig is going to win?
Third place was the Greens on just 12%.
Interesting.
And for anyone wishing to slag me off for not mentioning Restore didn't even feature in the top 5 parties. Another poll has been released, showing that
That is funny. I do want to know who Restore's candidate is. I do want to know who it is.
Preference votes. Remember, there's 2 votes in this one now because Labour have changed the rules to try and cheat, to try and win.
They're stealing the vote. They're stealing the vote. The Democrats, they're stealing it. They're always trying to steal elections. They're cheating to try and win. They made it different. This was a national policy, by the way. It's so funny that he's like, yeah. They changed it. They changed it to try and cheat. And it's like, This is the same across the country for mayoral elections, right? You have ranked choice voting in London as well. Isn't that true? It might be. I don't know. What's with his shirt, or what's with his color correction? His shirt looks ever so slightly blue, but almost white. I think that is just the color. It's just a bad shirt. It's just one of the worst shirts that you could ever see in your entire life. The color correction isn't wrong because the colors on the flag look right. The colours on the flags in the background also look right. That's a Timmy Mallet special, yeah. School polo shirt that you get. It does look like that. American teeth on a Brit look terrible. He has got turkey teeth, yeah. Turkey teeth, but like, you know, with the lack of dentistry, the lack of importance placed on dentistry that is present in the US, strangely enough, but actually is not that prevalent in the UK, and I don't know why that is. Low-key Human, welcome in. Thank you for the 25 consecutive streams watched. And we got 6 raiders from Shimon. How are you doing? Shimon, thank you so much for the raid. How are you doing? If you don't know me, my name is DJ Muel. I'm a leftist political streamer from the UK. I am currently looking at the Manchester mayoral election and the candidates and some of the commentary surrounding it. And it's very cursed. It's very weird. But that's what we're taking a look at. Everybody, please go show some love to Shimon, another great comrade streamer who is in Denmark, I believe. And welcome in. Welcome in, Shimon chatters. Way too cold. Shimon, how are you doing? Welcome in. Let's have a little look and see what the rest this guy is saying.
Mayoralty. First preference, Reform UK 31%, with Labour sitting on just 24, the Greens on 18. But the second preference is going to be really important. And I suspect that a lot of Green or Lib Dem voters are going to put Labour as their second preference. And with the second...
That's very, very stupid. That's a very stupid bit of analysis. Why do you think that? Why do you think that? Mate, stop looking off to the side. He can't. That's where the script is. He has to look there because that's where the script is.
Preference votes, it puts Labour on 53 and Reform on 47. There is a curveball though. George Galloway is standing for the workers.
You can call George Galloway lots of things. But a curveball is not one of them. What does this guy think that George Galloway is gonna do? Mad Uncle George is in the mix, yeah. What should we do with our second preference? I don't think you need to have one. I don't think you need to have a second preference. I don't think you need to vote for a second preference. I might be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure you don't. I'll have a look at the rules surrounding that, so don't take that as gospel to begin with, but I'm pretty certain that you could just be like, you know, or you can vote for, I don't know, a super obscure, really socialist party as a second preference, you know? I don't know. That would be my advice. If you don't want to give any votes to the Lib Dems or Labour or anything like that, I would say, yeah, just first preference, Geraldine Coggins. Second preference, maybe like the Socialist Federation or some shit. I don't know if they're going to be putting a candidate forward. Count Binface, maybe. Yeah, something like that. I don't know. As far as I was aware, you don't have to have the second preference. You could just choose first preference. But again, could be wrong about that. Let's wait until the election comes round, and I'll give you some more information there. But yeah, let's hear what other insight this guy's got about George Galloway.
Party. Now, George Galloway won't win, but will he galvanise a lot of votes? Yes, he will.
What do you mean? Is there a single Workers' Party of Great Britain MP? Is it? I feel like there is one, right? Or maybe some councillors. His sources, I reckon. Yeah.
Taking those votes away from Labour, taking those votes away from the Greens.
No, no. There are no Green Party voters who would vote for the Workers' Party of Great Britain. The Workers' Party of Great Britain are anti-green, anti-fucking woke, anti-woman, anti-fucking migrant, anti-queer, like insane stuff. Incredible commentary from Timmy Mallet. Yeah, Timmy Mallet having let himself go very badly.
Again, this contest is all going to come down to the second preference. If you are on the right of politics, if you're a Tory, if you're a Restore voter, then you need to put Reform as your second preference. If you're a Reform voter, you need to put either the Tories or Restore as your second preference. But in reality, from the parties on the right of politics, there is only Reform, going off the polling we've seen already, that can win this contest.
Thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. You heard him, chat. You heard him. Well, there you go. A little bit of an update on Greater Manchester mayoralty election. I am not sure what is going to happen at this point. I think that there is some Andy Burnham fuckery that is going on that is going to change people's opinions of the Labour Party for the short term. I'm not sure how long this is gonna keep going for, but I imagine that it is gonna happen, sadly. And I do think that Bev Craig has a decent chance of winning. I also think that Reform does have a decent chance of winning, but I don't know if the local council elections can be counted on at this point. I think that Andy Burnham has provided people with a lot of hope that doesn't exist. It's the new manager bounce. I'll be pretty pissed if Bev Craig or Sian Astley are elected. I do think that the Greens need to pick it up. I do think that Manchester Greens really need to be working on their wording and their campaign material. Like, if I, the super fucking radical, tanky, commie fucking weirdo who is looking for this kind of stuff, can't find some Green Party campaign material where they are literally talking about what they would do in the mayoralty, then that's a bad sign. They need to be working on their comms. They need to be working on their messaging. And yeah, it's not obvious at this point what the Green Party's entire messaging is, other than we aren't Reform, so don't vote for Reform, innit, kind of thing. And that's just a bit wet. It's just a bit fucking wet. So there you go. Uh-oh. Hang on.